to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today's Around Kansas begins with the story of the Dyke Museum of Natural History at Kansas University. Next, we look at the popular 1960 song, Hey Paula, that was written by a Kansan named Ray Hildebrand. Then enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a tale about the Smoky Hill Trail and the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. Stay tuned. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers. This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road.
Welcome to Around Kansas.
Is it Wednesday again already?
Honey, it's not only Wednesday, it's September.
And it's early in the morning.
Can you believe? I know, really.
So, yeah, September, good grief. But Kansas is full of all kinds of things going on in September and October. And so, anyway, just kind of check calendars everywhere and go everywhere you can, right?
It's so busy. It's like every day is packed. You'd have to be 10 people to do everything that's going on in September. And before I forget it, September 2nd, this is my daughter's birthday. She just went back to Israel, so happy birthday from Kansas. And hope everything's going well over there. And people in Kansas miss you and love you. So just want to remind you, don't forget us back here.
Well, she can watch Mama, though, of course, online anywhere around
Isn't
the world.
that awesome? That's right. You know, I was looking, Heather and I were looking the other day at some of our viewers that watch on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. You can check it out. Or on Facebook, you know, that watch the clips on Facebook. And there are people all over the world. There's like, I don't know, a dozen or so in the United Kingdom. I know one of those at least is my cousin, but I don't think everybody there is related to me that's watching the show. But we've got folks all over the place.
Yeah, isn't it exciting?
It is. It's so hey, everybody, wherever you are around the world watching, we're so glad to have you with us.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing, you know, I'm kind of associated with renradio.net, and it's the same thing. We have listeners all over the world, and it's really a fun thing. It's kind of like back in the 1950s, the 50,000 watt AM stations at night. You could hear all of them. And
heck, they went into Mexico or something. Yeah. I mean, just everywhere.
So that's kind of returned. Yeah. People are kind of going across the dial now and finding radio stations all over the place. But anyway.
And people connect to things, you know, like the stuff that we do on Around Kansas. You know, one of the things that I love, of course, is the pioneer history. We know those immigrants came from all over the world. So many of them still have family connections that aren't too distant, you know, and back in Europe especially. And so it just goes to show they would be interested in Kansas and what's going on here.
Yeah, so what have you been up to?
Just running the roads. I mean, just everywhere. Went back home, went back to the hills, Virginia, North Carolina. And it's funny when people ask me what's home. So when I'm here, I talk about going back home. But when I'm back there, I talk about coming back home to Kansas. So it's like, you know, they're both home.
Yeah. So people should know you're from Mount Airy.
Not exactly. Close to Mount Airy, Mount Airy. I was actually born in Mount Airy, but I grew up on the Virginia side of the line, just 8 miles north of Mayberry. So Mayberry, RFD, that's where I'm from.
That's right. So,
you know, the state fair is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The 9th, 10th, or 11th, something like that, through the 20th. So it covers 2 weekends down in Hutch, and everything you could imagine.
Mm-hmm. And the highlight of the fair is the butter sculpture.
Oh, man. What talent. What incredible talent.
Yeah, well, think about
it. It truly is. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
It's worth the admission just to see the butter sculpture. There's usually a big cow, so.
We'll be right back, folks. Stay with us.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life. And we're back, and I'm still awake.
We really need to get people to deliver coffee for us, Frank.
Coffee would be good.
I've only had 1 cup this morning, and I can really feel it. I'm not really functioning that well. And we need a masseuse on staff. You know, we're getting to be a big deal around Kansas.
We'll talk to our director.
Yeah,
our contracts, I think, are coming up here quickly. So.
I go to the co-op, and people recognize me, you know, so we need,
You know.
go to the feedlots, and people, I know you, so, we need a little perk.
Something
here and there.
Anyway,
that's right.
So, back to business. We've talked about a lot of museums and really interesting places around the state, and there's one over in Lawrence, and you're going to do a story about that, and it is the Dyke Museum, right?
It's amazing. The Dyke Museum has been a treasure in Kansas for a long, long time. It's the old-fashioned natural history museum where you get a lot of stuffed animals and stuff. But they have updated, like the exhibit that we were there seeing is on viruses and molecules, and so it's a fantastic exhibit. I don't know of any place that kids enjoy more. And of course, it's always cool because you can go up and you can actually touch a stuffed polar bear or whatever, and you see the big panorama. But what really blew me away was I took my grandkids who are 4 and 5 and my granddaughter who's 11, and the 4-year-old who is ADD, you can't get him to sit still, and he's looking into the microscopes, and he's stopping, and he's spending time, and he's looking at these bugs, and he's looking at these molecules, and I was really amazed at how engaged he was with what I considered the less spectacular exhibits. And it was really amazing to see the kids engaged that way. And all the kids that we took with us really, really loved it. So I think you will too. Lewis Lindsay Dyke came to Kansas Territory as a baby. His parents settled in Osage County, where they farmed and raised 12 children. His boyhood was spent outdoors, on the farm or hunting and trapping. He also visited with local Indian tribes and was fascinated by their stories. He rarely attended school but wanted an education. He sold cattle he had bought and raised and used the money to enroll at the Kansas State Normal School, the Teachers College in Emporia. He graduated early and then enrolled at KU. Inspired by KU's science professor, Francis Snow, Dyke pursued his studies with zeal and became the equivalent to a teaching assistant. In 1881, while on a field trip to New Mexico, the group of KU scholars just missed being attacked by a band of Apache warriors. Dyke graduated from KU with 2 bachelor's degrees. He married and continued teaching at the university. He spent a summer in Washington, D.C., training under the National Museum's chief taxidermist and became skillful at the craft. In 1891, the U.S. Army asked him to preserve the remains of the old cavalry horse, Comanche, the only survivor found on the Little Bighorn battlefield after the defeat of George Armstrong Custer's 7th Cavalry. He also helped assemble specimens for the Kansas exhibit at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Dyke continued teaching at KU and devoting his summers to collecting animal specimens, and he lobbied the legislature to build a museum to house them. In 1901, they voted on the funds.
Dyke spent years helping to design the structure and providing it with exhibits. Later on, Dyke also became the state's fish and game warden. Under his leadership, the state fish hatchery at Pratt was enlarged into one of the biggest and most modern in the country. He wrote legislation that protected endangered species and set hunting seasons for most mammals and game birds. He also spoke on the need for soil and water conservation. The Natural History Museum was renamed the Dyke Museum of Natural History. Dyke Hall was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973 and celebrated its centennial in 2003. The 7 million specimens in the collection, as well as research facilities and offices, now known as the Natural History Museum and Biodiversity Research Center, are housed in Dyke Hall and spill over into 5 other campus buildings.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com. Okay, your turn.
All right. So I am on the board of the Kansas Music Hall of Fame. Yeah, so send me your bribes and, all those things, and I'll see what I can do for you. But we, as you well know, Frank, because you've been in the music business here in Kansas for a long, long time, we are blessed with an incredible number of very, very talented people.
That's true.
And this one, I was shocked to find out he had a Kansas connection when he was inducted into the Kansas Music Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. Ray Hildebrand, who does a lot of Christian music now, but most of our viewers, I'm sure, remember the song Hey Paula.
Well, yeah, and I'm associated with an oldie station, and I really should have known that, but I didn't. I mean, yes, the song is very, very popular and well known. Hey, hey, Paula, and all that. But anyway, to learn that he was from Kansas and all of the places the song is used are very interesting.
Isn't that cool?
So instead of telling you the story now, I'll tell you the story now. You may not be familiar with the name Ray Hildebrand of Prairie Village, Kansas, but it's nearly impossible not to have heard his biggest hit, Hey Paula.
Hey, hey, Paula, I wanna marry you. Hey, hey, Paula.
On the 25th anniversary of Elvis Presley's death, according to Ray's official website, Priscilla Presley said that one of her husband's favorite songs was Hey Paula. She said Elvis had sent the record to her when he was in the Army in Germany. Country singer Kenny Rogers' brother named his twins Paul and Paula after the song. News commentator Bill O'Reilly said it was the first song he ever danced to in junior high school. The song provided the inspiration and encouragement for Karen Carpenter of the Carpenters to get into the music business. Rush Limbaugh even used it on his radio show as political satire or parody, of course, to poke fun at President Clinton and Paula Jones. Hey Paula has been used on television shows such as Cheers, Married with Children, Dharma and Greg, Ally McBeal, The 70s Show, as well as in movies such as Animal House, Hotel de Love, and The Family of Strangers. The radio and television appearances on past royalty statements indicate that Hey Paula has been played somewhere in the world virtually every day since 1962. Over the years, countless fans have testified that they fell in love and got married because of the song, were named after the song, named their kids after the song, or were greatly encouraged because of this simple song that Ray wrote and he and Jill Crawford recorded in 1962.
I
year later, it was a chart-topping hit and was quickly followed by others in the top 100. Ray became one of the founders of contemporary Christian music. He traveled for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as a speaker and performer, and later became a youth director for a church in Prairie Village. Ray was a frequent guest and singer for the Billy Graham Crusades. In 1983, he hooked up another contemporary Christian music artist, Paul Land. Land and Hildebrand have played together all over the U.S. and have recorded 16 albums. In 2013, Ray was inducted into the Kansas Music Hall of Fame and took the stage with his daughter to perform Hey Paula to a delighted audience.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Our veterinarians are very, very important to the modern day cowboys and ranchers. And sometimes we get into some interesting discussions with those veterinarians. This poem is entitled, Not Meds, But Management. Me and the guys were at the cafe, eating lunch and swapping lies, and listening to our local veterinarian philosophize. It's not medicine, it's management, the vet said to me. He was going on about the bad cases that he'd see. He made the point that medicine couldn't fix the situation when it was underlying management that caused the complication. He said those cowboys expect me to do a miracle fix and remedy their management with cheap antibiotics. It's not the medicine, it's management that needs to be changed. And then they wait too long to get the vet call arranged. Those ranchers are so tight, the old veterinarian said, they don't resort to calling me till the critter is mostly dead. He got so involved in the comments that he'd say that he didn't notice when the boys began to drift away. Bob had to make a phone call. Jim needed a tractor part. Max went to help his cousin because his pickup wouldn't start. So it was just the vet and me when the bill came to pay. I said, I got no cash. Looks like you get the lunch bill today. Hey, wait, said old Doc. This isn't good. It is no fair. Everybody ate here. Each one should pay his share. As he kept spouting protests about getting stuck with the bill, the waitress said, Calm down, Doc. Just take a chill pill. Oh, no, I spoke up, because I've learned from this event. It's not medicine Doc needs. It's better management. Happy trails.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses in rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results with stem cell injections, but at about 3 to 3.5 months, I started to feel better. I started to have less pain and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now, at approximately 8 months, and I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
Now's the time to overseed your lawn. The success of your lawn depends on the quality you plant and the proper fertilizer. Plant 100% weed-free seed with top-rated varieties tested by KSU. Always use Fertilome New Lawn Starter for faster, stronger root development. Don't waste time and money with lower quality seed from the box stores.
Join the Jackson's Greenhouse WIBW Garden Club and save 10% on your lawn seed and Fertilome New Lawn Starter.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Hey, we're back again, and still no coffee, but hey,
Doggone, the service around here, I'm telling you what.
So, let's see, you have another story that you want to talk about.
You know, I have images of roads all over my house, and I have just always been drawn to roads. I love to travel. There's nothing that tickles me more than just getting on the road. And of course, Kansas is blessed with roads and trails, and you've done a lot of research on some of those roads. And of course, before they were highways, like I-70, they were trails, they were military roads, they were all kinds of commerce trails, you know, the Santa Fe Trail and all this good stuff, the military roads. Before that, they were Indian passing and buffalo trails, you know, so all those trails just keep evolving. And one that we're going to take a look at today is the Smoky Hill Trail, which a lot of people may not remember. But those of you who are Western movie fans, when you would see all those movies with the stagecoach attacks, and, you know, they were always portraying, you know, the stage would get robbed. That was the Butterfield Overland Dispatch in many cases, and so we'll talk about that today.
The Smoky Hill Trail had been used as early as 1858. It was 500 miles long, but it was still 100 miles shorter than the other routes across the prairies to Denver, and could shave 1 to 2 weeks off the travel time. It earned a bad reputation early on, though. The road was not clearly marked west of Fort Riley, and there was little water for the last 130 miles. Travelers often arrived reciting ghastly stories of danger, hunger, and death along the Starvation Trail. But in 1865, David Butterfield saw the Smoky Hill Trail as an opportunity to create a thriving business. Butterfield was born in Maine, but was fascinated with the West. After the Civil War, he moved to Atchison, where he began to seek financial backing for the Butterfield Overland Dispatch, or the BOD. Freight wagons and stages could reach Denver from Atchison in only 12 days. The cost for traveling aboard a BOD coach, $175 per person, one way, and was not considered extravagant. Eventually, 39 stations were established and manned along the trail west of Fort Riley at an average interval of about 12 miles. Some of these were home stations, where passengers could get meals at an added cost of 50 cents to $1 per meal. The trip was fairly comfortable from Atchison to Fort Ellsworth, but from there westward the terrain was rougher. In addition, Cheyennes and Arapahoes took exception to this invasion of their homeland and began to attack coaches and stations. Initially, there was no military protection west of Fort Ellsworth, but as the attacks increased, the government established forts along the trail. Fort Fletcher was established, and Camp Pond Creek, later renamed Fort Wallace, was established near the Kansas-Colorado state line. Losing money, Butterfield eventually sold out to Ben Holliday, who was running a similar business along the Platte River Road. Tribes continued harassing the travelers, but it would be the coming of the railroad that ended the stage and freight traffic along the Smoky. The Smoky Hill Trail Association holds its annual conference October 16th through the 18th in Atchison, and among the speakers are Jerry DeBaker, Butterfield's descendant. Visit the group's website for more information.
Well, that was a kind of a fun day, so anyway, we have to say goodbye. So I'm Frank.
It was tough without the coffee, though. I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere
around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
It was hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy Street.